I hope you're doing. Hi, everyone. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us today. Episode 188. We're talking with Katia Quiros, immigration attorney in Las Vegas, but a real national practice, and just a wonderful person who's I've learned a lot from. So I wanted to make sure I bring her on the show to help everyone out with her information. Before we start, one note for the people watching live: I have the title wrong. So on the top it says Canadian immigration lawyer from our last show with Lori Tenu, so I'm updating that right now. But, the Immigration Lawyers Podcast magazine is out, the first issue. The next one's coming out in a couple weeks. Go to immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com/magazine and check out that magazine. The new one's coming out, almost 20 articles from colleagues. It's a great resource for people that are new and for people that have been doing this for a while. You'll definitely enjoy it. I want to thank our podcast sponsor, DocuWise, for all the excellent support they provided and help for immigration lawyers community. DocuWise does have a special discount code for listeners. If you go to www.docwise.com/immigration-lawyers-podcast and use the code immigration lawyers podcast, you can get additional 10% off your annual plan. You'll enjoy that a lot. And I just want people to know who are interested in getting involved in immigration law. I do have my course, Champions for Freedom, to learn the marriage, green card case, adjustment of status, consular processing, all of that. Just email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com to learn more about that. But let's just jump into the show because I'm very excited to talk with Katia. Thank you so much for coming on, Katia. How are you doing today?
I'm super happy to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. So Katia, I on Instagram, I add every immigration lawyer to see what everyone's doing. And the one thing that's been consistent for 2 years now is every morning I can expect to get a notification that you're live, and I click on it. It's Spanish, and my Spanish is not good, so I don't watch the whole thing, but I just know you're going to be there just like the sun is going to come up. And I'm like, wow, she must be very successful at being consistent like that. That's wonderful. So let's, I guess, where should we start? Talk about your background. Where'd you grow up, and how did you get into immigration?
I am Peruvian. I grew up in Peru. I moved to the States when I was 23. By then, I was a dentist and I had studied journalism. So I moved to the United States. My first job was as a dental assistant. And 5 years later, I jumped into law school and graduated law school. Started law school thinking I was going to be a commercial transactions lawyer. That was my dream. Mm-hmm. I wanted to make lots of money. And so I did the whole 9 yards in law school to be a commercial transactions lawyer. I did the law review on commercial transactions. I did every tax class, every business organizations class. And then this guy walks next to me and says, I'm going to start an immigration clinic. And you are the only one who speaks, the only one Hispanic in your class. And so we need you because we're going to serve the Latino community. And I said, I'm not interested. I mean, I was so interested in my resume and all my A's, and I was clerking for a judge. And the guy said, well, this could give you an A. I said, okay, well, then where do I sign up? So that was the moment that changed my life, because once I started the immigration clinic, I was sent to immigration court. And I saw the eyes of a 16-year-old in shackles. He had been caught at a bridge in Chicago. They brought him all the way from Brazil to work at this bridge. And he was in court, and he ended up being removed. And I was pregnant when that happened. So I just couldn't stop sobbing. And that day I decided I was going to be an immigration lawyer. And here I am 16 years later.
Wow. Well, it's so consistent. People ask me too how you got into immigration. It's always, you're not expecting it. I was expecting to go into real estate transactions, and then you get some experience in it. You're like, wow, this is the best field of law you could be in. I can't imagine doing anything else. And everything around me is just immigration law nowadays. All I like to think about. Such a wonderful practice area. So were you in Las Vegas where you are right now at the time, or did you move practices there?
I've been living in Las Vegas for the 25 years now. So, yeah, I came directly from Peru to Las Vegas, and this is home.
Wow. And did you just start your firm when you got out of law school, or did you work for someone else? How did you get it where you are now?
My law school professors were my mentors. And so when I did the clinic, they said, okay, you can do this on your own. Back then, the bar was very small in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And so I was encouraged to open my own firm, and I started law school with one kid, I finished law school with 3. I was pregnant twice.
How'd you do that?
And so
I have 2 kids right now, 1 and 3. I'm like, what? 3 kids, and you're going to law school? What's going on?
Yeah. So when I finished, somebody told me that if I would do it on my own, I could control my hours. And I was very naive, and I totally believed it. So I figured I would be better on my own than working for someone who's expecting 100-hour weeks, right?
Yeah.
Big mistake, because I was totally wrong, but I decided to go on my own. So for the first year, I reinvented the wheel every day with 3 little babies around me. But then on the second year, I got smarter, and I met the person who ended up being my brother from a different mother, who became my mentor and also my partner for many years. So I had help, and with him, I realized that I had more freedom to do what I really like, which was public education. So I started doing public education back then in 2005, and I've never stopped. It's one of the lines of my practice that I really, really, really enjoy.
Yeah. And same here. Like, and you, I mean, you obviously have a huge Facebook following, Instagram following, but YouTube is what I'm really focused on, because I like to do, because it's so much easier way to reach out directly to people. And Instagram, all this, and just share what's going on with a reliable source. And you've amassed one of the largest immigration attorney audiences on YouTube. I guess I'll ask the question I want to know about, but people don't. But like, how is it having an audience that large, analytics wise? How did you get there? How did you get that big?
I am not going to tell you that I have it all perfected, because I would be lying. I mean, it all started 3.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Before, I did what everybody else does. I read all the books that I could read, and I watched all the videos that I could watch, and I did as everybody else was doing. So for many years, I jumped into social media like everybody else, and I did small videos telling them this is the law and this is my phone number and call me, right?
Yeah.
And I was doing like everybody else. I was doing very, very normal, very little. I had a few thousand followers. And then the truth, because that's what you want to hear. The truth is, I broke down. I had a major life crisis. I ended up divorced with 4 children, and it was like a very hard time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, when I was very vulnerable and very broken, I decided that I needed to give.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't feel that I had nothing to give. So one day I was sitting and figuring out, what am I going to do? I need to keep busy. I didn't want to think about my life. I didn't want to think about my pain. I needed to be busy. And so out of the blues, I came up with, I don't think it's out of the blues. I think it's out of God's mercy. I came out with this idea of doing a show, of doing a video about how to become a better immigrant, a better person.
Mm-hmm.
And so on top of talking about the law, like I was doing it, I decided to start also talking about how to feel better, how to not feel broken, how
Mm-hmm.
to not live in pain, because there are better things than that. And so at first, everybody told me I was nuts, but since I was going through my midlife crisis, it was the perfect time to be nuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing these videos, and I noticed that the views were higher than my law videos.
Yeah.
So then I decided, oh, okay, so what if I do it live? And so that's when the live videos started, because I came live the first day and it was like 200 people, but then the following day was like 600, and the
Wow.
following it started being a consistent 600, 700, and the numbers of people liking the page started multiplying by hundreds. And so I had touched a nerve that others had not touched.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it started multiplying. And one day I realized, because there are metrics, as you know, in Facebook and Instagram, you can see the numbers of likes that other people have. But when you compare the engagement, my engagement, it's super high compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
I have as many likes as others, but I have so much more engagement. And when
Hmm.
you're on social media, you shouldn't be worried about how many people like your page or subscribe to your page. You really know that you are doing something right when the engagement is high. Because once they connect with you, once they interact with you, they won't forget you.
Yeah. And so you right now you on YouTube you have more than 200,000 subscribers, but as I said, the subscriber count doesn't really capture the engagement because people could have 1 million subscribers, but they don't necessarily watch it, or their time they spend listening is low. But what do you do about comments and stuff? So when you're on a live software, are you just talking or just take questions as well? Because I imagine it's just question after question hitting you, so there's no way to keep track of that.
Okay, so in Messenger, I use a lot of Messenger. So
Hmm.
for everything that it's Facebook and Instagram, I use Yo Tengo Bot, which is Jared Jaskat's bot, and it's done wonders for me. I have thousands of people writing to me every day, and
Yeah.
the bot has figured out a way to answer with videos of mine. So I don't just say, okay, here I am, and I don't get. That's the other thing we need to talk about. But I don't. When they message me with their problem, the bot grabs the keywords of their problem and then answers with a video of mine talking about that issue. So they don't feel like like they don't count and I didn't listen,
Yeah.
right? And so then if they continue and they want to make an appointment with me, I ask questions because I the demand is so high that I cannot take several types of cases. I only do a certain types of processes. So I ask them what they're looking for, and if I don't do what they want, then I refer out
Hmm.
on the bot. And if they do what if I want to do it, then I will transfer them to Acuity to make an appointment. But one of the most important things is at the time of creating that interaction is that they feel heard. It's all about
Yeah.
feelings, and
Hmm.
that's the hardest part for a lawyer to understand when we jump in the social media marketing world, is that we are used to show off who we are and how wonderful we are, and in social media it's the opposite. You
Yeah.
have to show them how wonderful they are, and you have to make them feel good before you sell them anything.
Very interesting. And with this amount of volume, what structures your firm currently? Are you solo or do you have associates, or how do you run the office?
Well, we are four lawyers, but I personally don't want. I could be a much bigger firm, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I am more interested um, in living a, a, a comfortable life,
Yeah.
um, in peace with myself. The stress of running a law firm is humongous,
Yeah.
and I'm not interested in that type of stress. So
Mhm.
I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm having a lot of fun, and I feel very blessed the way
Mhm.
it is. So I'm not running towards a humongous practice. I would like for a humongous practice to take all the business that I can provide, but right now I am only doing a few processes to make sure that everything is under control and it's good,
Yeah.
and I'm happy.
I hear I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm starting to partner up with the firm just to handle it because a lot of his lifestyle, a lot of his connecting with people, make sure you focus on you have that relationship. Those are such key factors. And immigration law really allows people to have that. Whereas if you did go to commercial transactions, I mean, those are 100-hour-a-week jobs, and the companies are stressing you out. That the work we do is very stressful because people's lives at hand, but it's a different, satisfaction when it works and all that. So it's a very pleasurable experience. So, it's amazing how life could change. I mean, like 5 years ago, how did your office look like as compared to how it is today before, the big stuff on social media?
Well, professionally, I mean, all my clients were from Las Vegas, and I
Hmm.
still had a big waiting list, but I just had, it was me and six paralegals, and and I was handling, well, two lawyers. The other lawyer had his own paralegals. Now it's massive, right? Now my next appointment it's in July, and people who come to me, I used to, I big on, if I could be a pro bono lawyer, probably I would, but I can't, right? So, but for many years, I charged $50 for a consultation, because I was interested in serving, and I had other businesses, so I was not, all my eggs were not in the law practice. And now, just to avoid the massive amount of people that I have trying to make an appointment with me, the consultation fee is now $200, and I'm still looking at my next appointment for July. So it's crazy. What social media does is crazy, you know. And but it's a blessing, and in the process of keeping my practice the way it is, I am serving so many people. I mean, I'm serving thousands and thousands every day, and I think that's the biggest blessing.
Yeah, because a lot of people who may not be able to hire an attorney or file themselves, and they're worried about something, they get to hear the answers from you and what's going on. I found that really it helps people a lot. Even if they don't hire you, there's this deeper impact you have on society. It's never in history could some person in Los Angeles or Las Vegas affect the whole world, you know, on these videos. It's amazing. And especially on a subject like immigration law, which is, it really affects every single person in the world, because immigration is part of humanity, like love and war and all that kind of stuff. But you know what's interesting is you've been through the journey yourself, and as you said, you got big talking about the immigrant experience. What is it that you like talk about nowadays? Because immigration is one of the hardest things to do, and most people are unwilling to do it. So the people that actually take charge of their lives and decide to move is a unique kind of person like yourself and my parents who came here. But what kind of stuff do you like talk about it nowadays when it comes to that emotional journey for immigration?
Well, every morning, my show has 3 segments, and the first segment is motivational. The second segment is the news of the day, and the third segment is answering questions. And it's always general information. I don't provide any specific information for anybody. And so nowadays, every week I pick a topic. So let's say this week I will talk about being responsible, and what's the meaning of being responsible, and why we wake up early, and why we show up early at job, and why are we doing. Next week I'll talk about anxiety, and how do we deal with anxiety, and how do we look for help, and how do we practice meditation, and how breathing is important. And so every day this little bites of motivation, of love, because that's what I do. It's I share love.
It was interesting, for most of like TV history, you would have had to have a TV station network, and like to be like Oprah or one of these shows to talk about this, you individually probably could compete with one of the shows on TV at 12 noon or 11 p.m. that talk about this kind of stuff, a Martha Stewart show or Oprah show. You're individually created your own. It's amazing what you've done. That's like you're competing with people that get paid $10 million, $20 million to be on TV. You're doing that individually using social media. It's remarkable.
It's I do it for the blessings, and I have my gurus as immigration lawyers in social media, right? I look up to Erica Jurado Graham. I don't know if you've seen Erica, but she's amazing. She's huge in social media, and she does completely the opposite to what I do. She sells her firm, and she's really big at it, and we are super best friends. And I love her dearly. I love her marketing style, the way she approaches it. I don't think I am doing anything special. I think what I do is I just follow my heart and my instinct. Yeah. And I think people who think that social media is hard, it's because they are not willing to open themselves up to just being themselves. The key in social media, the key factor is being authentic. People have an eye for that. And so when you let your guard go down, it's when you finally can touch people. It's like you, right? We as lawyers, I have a big ego. I have to, I admit it. I know it, right? I grew up knowing that I was smart. My parents convinced me of that, and they put me to 3 universities. So I think I'm very smart. Well, in social media, my smart doesn't work. When I try to show how smart I am, I scare people off.
Mm-hmm.
The moment I show the immigrant Katia, the vulnerable Katia, the Katia that makes mistakes and tries to fix them up, at that moment, I am being genuine, and people are like, okay, I understand you're not perfect, but you'll be there for me.
Yeah.
And so that's when the same happened with me and you, right? Like I follow you, I follow what you do because I find you authentic. You're not trying to show off. And you, it's TV is different. In TV, you buy the story and you try to get into the character. In social media, it doesn't work.
No, that's amazing. And one thing I think that helped you lead to that is you, and it's just taken from my story, and I see a lot of the people who give up at first, is you kind of have to go through tens, if not hundreds of hours of doing it. So you lose that fake, smart lawyer, I dress up too much because I was dressing up really trying to be sharp for my videos, and then it just was too much work. So I just got casual about it, and I started talking more casually, and I saw the big change where I'm not scaring off people or just being this robot kind of thing. But it took a lot of hours of just doing it the wrong way until I kind of relaxed and I'm still learning how to do it and easing my way into it. But that's fascinating because I see a lot of people who start these YouTube pages. They do it. It only gets 50 views, 100 views, which is still a lot. 100 people watching one video. That's a lot for people to watch, but they want to get 10,000 views. And it's like, you don't need that, first of all. But if you do, you got to go through a lot of different changes and bring yourself out to be able to get to where you want to go. Bring the truth.
And I think the moment you realize that this is not for everybody, not everybody is histrionic. Yeah. Not everybody is good in front of a camera. And if you are not that type of person, don't force it. There are other ways to win in social media without doing videos and without being live crazy every day like Katia, this is not for everybody, and it's okay. There are many other ways to make money and to get clients without doing what you and I are doing. And people don't know it. Lawyers think that if that's the way it works for her, then it must be the only way. No, it's not the only way. Social media allows you to do marketing in many, many, many ways. And I've learned that from many of my colleagues, right? They don't like videos, they don't like exposing their life, and it's all good. But they do very good ads. They put them in the right spots because targeting your ads is extremely important. And then they end up getting client consults out of it, and those consults turn into clients, and the money's made.
Yeah.
So I think there is room for everything and for everybody. It's just a matter of learning how to do it and learning what you're good at and what you're not good at. Like, it's like I really don't like business immigration. I don't have a heart for it. And so I refer everything out, and I admire people who do it. I am into other areas and that I enjoy. And at this time in my life, I only do what I enjoy.
What kind of cases do you accept yourself or your firm?
Everything that is family, everything that is for the undocumented. So I do U visas, VAWAs, T visas, adjustments, DACAs, TPS. I love motions to reopen. Like, I'm really good at it. So I enjoy doing motions to reopen in court. And so I go to court basically when I'm going to have good results.
Yeah. And for court, do you usually just go to the Las Vegas courthouse, or do you travel for court as well?
I like to do motions to reopen in all the West region. So and I pick. The great thing about the traffic that I have is I get to pick what I want to take and what I don't want to take. So if I take a hard case, a really hard case, then I take one a month where I can explore, research, and my brain goes crazy. I don't take 10 a month because I won't deliver results the way I should, right? So that's the magic of high traffic is that you get to pick the clients that you want to take.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are able to do that, then your reputation grows because you are taking only the good cases, right?
Yeah.
And that's hard, especially if you're a new lawyer, a new immigration lawyer. And that's why I'm doing this show with you, and where I talk so candidly, so honestly. It's because I want the new lawyers to know that it's everything with time, it'll get better. And with hard work, your reputation will grow, and one day you don't really need social media. You just need word of mouth.
Yeah. Exactly. On also local question, how was the courthouse going? I remember Las Vegas had like down to one judge. Was it last year? Did they hired, or is it still?
We have three, but it's complicated because of COVID. So most of our hearings are being canceled and rescheduled. Some of them are not, and so the TAs are showing up virtually, but we have to go there. So.
Yeah, inconsistency it happens here. Well, Katia, I should have said this at the beginning, but we're actually going to be on a panel for AILA together talking about social media marketing. For those who are still watching or watch later, I can't remember the day at all, but I'm sure I'll be plugging it a lot. You, Greg Siskin, and another one of our colleagues, Kim, I forgot her name, I apologize, but we're going to be on talking about this stuff. So if you're joining AILA's national summer, the main one, conference, and definitely catch us there. I'll be adding the information so that people can know about that. Look, I did. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope we get to talk again, and hopefully have you on the show again. There's just a wealth of knowledge. If you have the time, please let me know. I'd love to have you on every month if possible.
Well, I'm delighted. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be talking with you live. And thank you for inspiring so many other lawyers to do this. You know that you and I know that this country needs so many more immigration lawyers. And every time we convince a young lawyer to keep fighting for the rights of immigrants, we're doing something right in this world.
Definitely. Well, stay on the line. I want to talk to you probably a little bit for some minutes, but thank you again. So everyone who's watching, definitely download the ultimate. I'm sorry, no, I'm plugging what I say on my firm videos. The marriage. I keep plugging. What's it called? The Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine. I'll spill the news. Katia is going to be on the cover. She was so gracious to kind of accept that. We're going to have her on the cover and definitely have some of our interview there and a lot of other articles. All right, everyone. Until next one. Have a good one.